Before the interstates had a chain restaurant on every exit, there was something better. A truck stop where the parking lot held 40 rigs, and the cook had been making the same pot roast since Eisenhower. Number 6 on this list was the most ordered dinner on Route 66 for 20 straight years. Number 9 costs under $2 to make and tastes exactly the way America used to smell at 11 p.m. in the middle of nowhere. Number 1 kept long-haul drivers going through the night when nothing else would hold them. These dinners disappeared because a Denny's opened across the street and charged twice the price for half the food. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Let's count down the 15 forgotten truck stop dinners that kept America moving. Number 15. Chicken fried steak with white gravy. This was not a steak pretending to be chicken. This was a tough cut of beef, cube steak, always cube steak, pounded thin, dredged in seasoned flour, dipped in egg, dredged again, then fried in a cast iron skillet until the crust shattered when you pressed it with a fork, and the whole counter smelled like pepper and hot grease. The white gravy came from the same pan, made with the drippings and whole milk, and enough black pepper to make your eyes water. 49 cents a pound for cube steak in 1968. The whole plate cost under $1. Every truck stop cook from Texas to Tennessee had her own version. None of them were wrong. Number 14. Ham steak with Redeye Gravy. You have never heard of Redeye Gravy, and that is a genuine gap in your education. A thick slice of country ham, salt-cured and smoky, seared hard in a dry skillet until both sides turned deep brown at the edges. Then the cook did the thing, poured black coffee directly into the hot pan, scraped up every bit of fond from the bottom, and let it reduce into a thin, dark, intensely savory sauce that was poured straight over the ham. A ham steak cost 55 cents in 1965. Truck drivers in the South ordered this at midnight and called it the best cup of coffee they had ever eaten. They were not wrong. Gone and not coming back. That is a loss. A full slice of calf's liver dredged in flour, seared fast on a screaming flat top until just cooked through, pulled at exactly the right second before it turned to leather. A pile of sweet caramelized onions cooked low in butter for 20 minutes, soft and golden, spread underneath. 59 cents a pound in 1966. Truckers who drove overnight ordered this specifically because older drivers on long hauls swore it kept them sharper through the night. Nobody could explain exactly why. They ordered it anyway. Nobody under 50 ordered it willingly. Everyone over 60 didn't look at the menu. Number 12. Hot beef sandwich with brown gravy. Sunday's pot roast became Monday's truck stop special. Thin sliced beef laid flat on white bread, completely drowned in brown gravy thick enough to hold a spoon upright. Mashed potatoes on the same plate. A second slice of bread on the side because you were going to need it. 65 cents in 1967. A driver who had been behind the wheel for 9 hours ordered this because it felt like someone had cooked for him. The gravy soaked into the bread. The bread soaked into everything. For 20 minutes at a counter stool, he was home. And if these forgotten roadside meals are doing something to you, hit subscribe and ring the notification bell. We've got a lot more of these waiting. Number 11. Pork chop with applesauce. 2 thick, bone-in pork chops, seasoned with salt and pepper, browned hard on both sides until the fat crisped at the edges and the kitchen smelled like Sunday, then finished in the oven until the meat pulled away from the bone clean. A small dish of sweetened applesauce on the side, made that morning from whatever apples came in that week. Applesauce green beans cooked long with a piece of fat back, and mashed potatoes. The whole plate cost 75 cents in 1964. Midwestern truck stops served this every Tuesday without fail. Drivers planned their routes around it. A man who ate this plate at 6 in the evening did not need to stop again until morning. That was the point of every meal on this list. Pure working fuel. Number 10. Beef stew with cornbread. The pot went on the stove at 7 in the morning and did not come off until the last bowl was gone. Stew beef was browned in batches, with carrots, potatoes, onion, and a can of tomatoes. It simmered for 4 hours until the broth went thick and dark and clung to the ladle. A wedge of cornbread baked in a cast iron skillet, golden on the bottom and soft in the middle, was served on the side of the bowl, still warm. 55 cents for the whole plate in 1966. By noon, the stew was perfect. By 2 in the afternoon, it was transcendent. By 4 in the afternoon, it was gone. Drivers who arrived at 4:15 in the afternoon got chili instead. They were not happy about it. Number 9, biscuits and sausage gravy. This one could be breakfast or dinner, depending on what time you pulled in. At a truck stop, nobody cared what time it was. Thick biscuits, made from scratch that morning, split and laid flat on the plate. Country sausage, browned and crumbled, the fat left in the pan. Flour stirred in to make a roux. Whole milk added slowly until the gravy turned thick, speckled and white, and smelled like a diner at 2 in the morning, in the best possible way. Poured over everything. The whole plate cost 35 cents in 1963. Truckers called this a gut bomb. They ordered it 3 nights a week. There is no contradiction there. When you have 500 miles left and it's 2 in the morning, you need something that sticks. This stuck. Here is what nobody talks about when they talk about truck stops. Before McDonald's built the same restaurant on every exit, the truck stop was the only reliable hot meal between cities. The cook knew it. She had been feeding drivers since 1954, and she understood something the fast food industry never figured out. A man who drives alone for 12 hours needs more than calories. He needs a booth big enough for a work jacket, coffee refilled without asking, a plate that doesn't look like it came off an assembly line. The food was part of it. The room was the rest of it. And the room is gone. Number 8, meatloaf plate. Made on Monday morning, sliced all week, reheated to order on the flat top until the edges crisped and the ketchup glaze caramelized dark. Ground beef mixed with breadcrumbs soaked in milk, egg, diced onion, a pour of Worcestershire sauce, packed into a loaf pan and baked for an hour. Mashed potatoes and canned green beans on the same plate. 59 cents in 1967. Truck stop meatloaf on Wednesday tasted better than truck stop meatloaf on Monday, because 2 days in the refrigerator gave it time to think about what it wanted to be. The drivers who knew this ordered it mid-week on purpose. Most of them didn't know why it was better. They just knew it was. Number 7. Fried catfish with hush puppies. Below the Mason-Dixon line and out to East Texas, every truck stop within 30 miles of a river served this on Fridays. Catfish fillets soaked in buttermilk, dredged in seasoned cornmeal, fried until the crust crackled when you bit through it. Hush puppies dropped alongside, cornmeal batter fried in the same oil until crisp and golden. 49 cents a pound for catfish in 1965. Hot sauce on the table, always. Lemon wedge on the plate, always. A driver who pulled off Route 80 in Louisiana on a Friday night and found this plate wrote down the exit number for next time. They always came back. Number 6. Chicken and dumplings. This is the dish that earned chicken and dumplings its reputation as the Great American Road Meal. A whole chicken simmered in a pot of seasoned broth until the meat fell from the bone. The bones were removed, the meat shredded back into the broth, then spoonfuls of biscuit dough were dropped in and cooked, covered, until they puffed up soft and pillowy and absorbed the chicken-rich liquid around them. One bowl cost 55 cents in 1964. Drivers who had been on the road for 3 days ordered this because it was the closest thing to something their mother made. The dumplings were the point. Soft and warm and heavy and exactly right. Here is what the chains took from you. In 1965, Howard Johnson's sales exceeded those of McDonald's, Burger King, and Kentucky Fried Chicken combined. By the early 1970s, it had more than 1,000 locations across the country. By 1985, the formula had flipped. The chains offered consistency, the same burger in Amarillo as in Albany. The truck stops offered something the chains could never replicate: A cook who had been making the same pot of chicken and dumplings for 15 years and knew exactly when to pull it off the stove. Consistency won, commercially. But it lost everything else. You can get the same meal at any exit today. You cannot get that cook. You cannot get that specific Tuesday pot of stew that had been going since 7 in the morning. That Tuesday is gone. Number 5. Country fried chicken. Not fast food fried chicken. The slow kind. A whole chicken cut into pieces and soaked in buttermilk overnight so the meat stayed moist all the way through. Dredged in heavily seasoned flour, then fried low and slow in a cast iron skillet until the crust turned deep golden and the kitchen filled with that specific smell that meant something real was happening back there. 40 minutes from start to finish. Chicken quarters cost 29 cents a pound in 1965. You cannot rush country fried chicken, and a truck stop cook who tried ended up with pale crust and pink bone. The good cooks did not rush it. Drivers who knew the schedule planned accordingly. Number 4. Pinto beans and ham hock. A pound of dried pinto beans, soaked overnight, simmered all day with a ham hock and an onion until the broth turned thick and dark, and the beans dissolved at the edges into the liquid around them. Cornbread on the side, hot sauce on the table. 45 cents in 1966. This was the cheapest plate on the menu and the most filling thing you could order. Long-haul drivers on tight per diems ordered this because it kept them full for 6 hours and left enough in the budget for pie. There was always PI. A truck stop without pie was not a truck stop. It was just a parking lot with a grill. Number 3. Pot roast with root vegetables. Monday's pot roast was the foundation of the entire week's menu. A chuck roast browned hard on all sides, bedded on carrots, potatoes, and onion, covered and braised low for 4 hours, until the meat pulled into thick, yielding slabs. The braising liquid became the gravy. 65 cents in 1968. By Tuesday, the leftovers became the hot beef sandwich. By Wednesday, the remaining broth became the base for the stew. A good truck stop cook wasted nothing. One roast fed 30 people across 3 days. Every one of them thought they were getting the best thing on the menu. They were all right. Number 2. Peach cobbler. Every meal on this list ends the same way. A deep baking dish, canned peaches or fresh in season, sweetened and spiced with cinnamon, topped with rough biscuit dough dropped by spoonfuls, and baked until the fruit bubbled through the gaps and the crust turned golden. Served warm with a scoop of vanilla ice cream that melted into the hot fruit before it reached the counter. 25 cents a slice in 1965. Truck stop peach cobbler at 10 p.m. after 9 hours on the highway was not a dessert. It was a reason to stop here instead of the next exit. Drivers remembered it. They came back for it specifically. Number 1. The Blue Plate Special. Every truck stop had one. It changed daily. It was always the best deal on the menu. Monday was pot roast. Tuesday was meatloaf. Wednesday was chicken and dumplings. Thursday was pork chop. Friday was catfish. It cost 65 cents every day in 1965, and it was made by a cook who had been doing it long enough that her hands knew before her brain did. Drivers who ran the same route every week sat in the same booth and ordered without opening the menu. The cook had it up before they finished their coffee. That is not a restaurant. That is something we do not have a name for anymore. We do not have it anymore. The last great truck stop cook retired sometime in the late 1980s. The chains moved in, the booths got smaller, the plates got lighter, and the highway that once smelled like chicken frying in cast iron at midnight now smells like every other exit in every other state. Make one of these this week. Biscuits and sausage gravy. Chicken and dumplings. Peach cobbler, warm from the oven. Tell me in the comments which one you're making. Tell me if you ever stopped at a truck stop you still think about. Some of you have a specific exit number in your head right now. I want to know which one it is.